We've seen the worst from this pandemic, but a year later, we're now seeing how science has given us the best. Our Kenesha Dees talked to doctors and a psychotherapist about the positive impact on both our physical and mental health.
Doctors have credited science for seeing us through this pandemic with the vaccine and treatment, some believing it's a scientific breakthrough.
Between Dexamethasone and Remdesivir and Casirivimab and the monoclonal infusion in the outpatient setting, all these were a great achievement to get to help the patients.
Dr. Hassoun with Huntsville Hospital says scientists are studying more uses for the treatments and how it can be used after the pandemic.
I can tell you there's already more research ongoing for other treatment, even oral treatment for COVID, for example, in the outpatient setting.
The vaccine also providing a shot of hope in less than a year's time.
It is something that's going to end up need a Nobel Prize for it, because there's no such thing happen that we've seen to be developed and effective and safe, which is very, very important.
Dr. Karen Landers with the Alabama Department of Public Health says efforts to mask, sanitize, and separate have dramatically lowered flu infections.
And our influenza activity has been the lowest that I recall in my career with the Alabama Department of Public Health. We also had less respiratory syncytial virus in babies this year.
A lot of people have struggled with mental health this year, but it has also brought more understanding and resources.
There has definitely been an increase in mental health awareness, mental health education, and I think that is a positive for us because it helps remove the stigma.
Putting the Valley first, Kenesha Dees, WZDX News.